The most important factor when it comes to creating a culture where we've got high levels of engagement and high levels of well-being, which leads to high levels of retention, productivity and innovation within a company, all things that businesses need today to thrive, is being massively overlooked. And that is looking after your managers. And Slack Technologies Future Forum has just come out with some new data this year that suggests that manager burnout levels are at a record level high at 43 or 45%. And this is just the managers that are being open about it. We know that people that suffer with burnout tend not to openly talk about it. So think about this. Gallup have released a lot of data that suggests that if a manager is engaged in work, their teams, which tend to be an average of 6 to 10 in the normal organisation, are 3 times more likely to be engaged in work. So if a manager is burning out and struggling, their teams are probably at least 3 times less likely to be engaged or thriving at work. So we tend to look at the symptoms, which is low levels of productivity throughout the organisation, high levels of sickness, which we know is associated to employee engagement, low levels of retention, high levels of turnover. We tend to look at all these problems and think, what do I need to do to address that? We need to put on wellbeing programs. We need to pay people more. We need to improve flexible working. All things which I'm sure are good. But if your managers are burning out, none of this is going to have a lasting or meaningful impact. And if your managers aren't burning out and they're happy, that's probably going to have more of an impact than any of those other things. So I believe that this is being overlooked massively, and I've seen the impact of doing this in organisations. Another thing to consider is that between 60 and 80% of managers don't receive any training or development. And this is pretty much the crux of the issue for me. That I believe this is the crux of the issue with our people problems in the UK and our businesses. Because what happens in your organisation is you filter your best people into management positions. Of course you do. You'd be silly not to. You filter the people that work hard and have got a good attitude and care about the company into a management position. Fantastic. But as soon as that person gets into a management position, what we're doing is you're saying to them, the way that you've been working for the last 3, 5, 10 years, that's done you so well and got you great results and got you to here. We don't want you to do that anymore. We want you to completely change your approach to work. We want you to focus less on working hard and more on working smart. We want you to be able to strategically plan. We don't want you to keep saying yes to all the work like you used to. We need you to be able to prioritise the work and say no to things which isn't going to come naturally to you. And we need you to leverage a team and be smart with your time. And this is the exact opposite of what they've been doing to now. Up to now, they've been working really hard, saying yes to everything, doing things themselves, being a team player, not having to lead, not having to address behaviour, not having to inspire or motivate a team, not having to plan or prioritise. So you're putting them into a position where if you don't develop them, they are going to burn out. They're going to suffer. Unless they're very lucky and they naturally take to that management position, they're going to carry on doing what's served them well because they're human beings. And that's going to lead to them feeling burnt out, taking on too much work, not engaging their team, and just generally getting fed up. So what I think the biggest problem is in most of our businesses in the UK and wider world is we funnel our best people into management positions. We don't give them development training because we're too focused on firefighting and other issues. We let them burn out. They're the people that are leading people throughout the organisation. It creates a vicious, toxic culture of the manager's burnt out, the teams aren't happy, stuff's going wrong, and then our response is to try and pay people more, do more flexible working, put in crazy wellbeing programs, sign up to these new apps, do all of these different things that are just overlooking the major issue, which is your managers need some basic, simple to do development training.